teams prioritize different maps and put different amounts of effort into them. But you know, I dare say that this isn't going to be too ViCi Gaming's comfort zone. So for me, it really leans back towards NKT to step up to the plate, I think.
Yeah, certainly. I would agree with you as well. And to be honest, looking at the odds there, I'm actually surprised that NKT is as low as they are. I feel like this is a matchup that you would probably expect it to balloon out in a little bit, but that hasn't necessarily been the case. So at least as far as the bookies are concerned, they're saying that NKT might have a bit of a chance. Maybe that's only for map 1 though, and that is their choice. So there is that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those cases where, you know, there's not as much of a known quantity and not as many reps. So you don't want to go too crazy on the odds in a matchup like this, or you might end up unbalancing the books perhaps.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how things do end up panning out. Zoking here for ViCi Gaming. It's going to be just defending from the bathrooms. And the A bomb site seems to be the point of interest for NKT, at least for the moment. They haven't really taken any control down in short water or over towards Monster Tunnel. They're really just barreling their way towards that A bomb site, and they're going to try and hit some nice entries here. Impression seems to be the one that's leading the charge at the moment, though he does also have the bomb on his back. Gets a bink onto Zoking. That's not going to be enough to finish him off. A little bit unfortunate for NKT because that could well have been the opening frag. But now Impression's fully going to be sent in, and Kaze will do a good job of covering his teammates off. However, Score, the player we talked about, the new addition to the team, who's been having a really good performance of late, is once again going to make the difference. A triple kill from him, and Zine is able to finish off the heavily tagged up Zoking. Jam Young might actually have the chops to clutch this one out, Pilski. I was going to say no chance, but 3-on-1, he could potentially find those 1-on-1s. Doesn't check the right angle, though, and Score will finish with 4 in the pistol round.
Yeah, nicely done. Get off to a good start on that T side if you're NKT on your own map pick. Keen to see which way the ViCi Gaming goes with this one. Will they go for one of these kind of second round 4 spies and try to break the money of the T side a little bit? Or are they going to take a bit more of a passive approach? Do get a pause nice and early on, which is, you know, not too far outside the realms of expectations if you're coming into one of these Asian CS series.
Yeah, and that's a little bit unfortunate. I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning is for it. Let's see if I can take a bit of a sticky beak into the Discord and see.
I mean, we're already out of the pause, so...
Yeah, it was a very, very brief technical pause, so... I don't know what it was, but looks like it's all good. So ViCi Gaming will take the opportunity to invest into some pistols and, you know, whatever other guns they can manage to afford. There's an MP9 there, a Scout there as well. Do love to see Zoking on that 5-7. See if he can make any magic happen this time.
Pretty slow, sort of creeping approach here from NKT. Start out with a 1-1-3 and then very quickly start to move towards this A side of the map. You see them taking this long control. So not too crazy of an expectation really for an anti-eco. You'd want to take those long range duels, maybe go on towards that A site, 2-man set up in towards bathrooms here for ViCi Gaming. Looking to potentially just hold on to that part of the map if they can and do any economic damage possible. ViCi Gaming dropped their last smoke over towards Monster, but it actually does miss, so unfortunate. They're pretty much out of utility.
Once again, no presence towards the B bomb site for NKT. I am interested to see if that's just a pistol and anti-eco kind of thing, or if they really do heavily favor the A bomb site. We'll have to wait and see. Kaze does fire a shot through that flashbang, won't be able to connect with the head, but a little bit of damage starting to come through onto those NKT players as they make their way into the bomb site. Duck his head back up, and not going to be able to do too much with the pistol. So in the end, ViCi Gaming have not been successful in defending the A bomb site, which is going to mean NKT get the bomb down and start to try to push the issue. Guns starting to be lost here and there for the T side though, and Zoking has an MP9 in hand. I'm not necessarily suggesting that the round win is on the cards here for ViCi Gaming, but they might be able to do a bit more damage. And there you have it. Advent gets himself another one. Kill with the CZ, grabs the MP9, and just decides to take the percentage play and back his way out of the A bomb site to try and save that SMG through to the next round. He would have had a CZ in hand as well, so he can chuck this on over to one of his teammates, you know, give them at least a smaller chance of being able to get through the next round. But so far, not too bad from NKT.
Yep. I dare say ViCi quite happy with the damage that they've done, as long as they can take a couple of guns away in towards that next round. But it's always good to see the team that's not a huge underdog, but at least a little bit of an underdog get off to a good start. You know, get that momentum rolling for themselves and get the confidence going. You never want to get kind of slammed in the first couple of rounds because it can take you a little bit too long to sometimes pick yourself up, especially against a very quality opponent. In this case, I'd still say the best in the Asian region. So, gonna need every edge you can get.
Yeah, I mean, it's still obviously early days in this match, so I mean, you can't count out chickens before they hatch, but it does seem to be, you know, not the worst of starts for NKT. You'll take it. You'll take it. I think if someone offered you a 2-0 lead against ViCi Gaming, yeah, you might have lost a couple of guns here. You'd probably still go for that. Particularly when it's on the T side here, it doesn't really give the opportunity for ViCi to just get off to a rampaging start on that CT side. You know, get the AWP in Kaze's hands, get him getting aggressive. You know, let Zokin kind of off the leash a little bit. You know, ViCi's going to have to be a little bit more reserved to start this map and series off, which is probably something that NKT will be happy to oblige. Once again, we are going back towards the A bomb site.
Yeah, this is just the epitome of structure. Map control into high percentage utility being used to minimize risk. Boost over the top from Orman, trying to be a little bit cheeky and find that pick, but gets his head taken off, and that's going to be a pretty decent amount of money in the bag for him, farming up with the Mac 10. ViCi Gaming at this point, kind of setting up for some exit frags or some damage if they can find it, because they're going to be buying up next round anyway.
Jamyoung goes down. Kaze's holding onto a CZ. But Excurate is going to be more than enough to match up to that weapon. And it looks like Impression's on a little bit of an expedition here as well. Don't necessarily mind to see that from NKT. I would be very disappointed though if they did drop one of the two AKs, but it looks like Score and Zion are both relatively safe where they are, so they'll be okay. And NKT will get through with all 5 guns alive this time. Though that in itself poses a bit of a question, you know, Excurate's holding on to a Mac 10. Do you continue to take that forward here into round 4? Are they going to upgrade that weapon? Looks like for now they're going to hang on to it.
Pretty good AWP matchup. Actually, a bit of a throwback AWP matchup for many a year is Impression versus Kaze. Even going back to Impression playing in Tyloo. So these two players in the AWP role, very, very familiar with one another. Initial utility towards the B side of the map from NKT, applying that utility pressure, making it kind of look like they're trying to draw some nades out of the CT side, I think. Still 3 towards B here for NKT, but after that initial utility usage, they really haven't committed in too much. Good news for them is they have drawn a lot of utility out of ViCi Gaming, some counter flashes, you know, that double smoke over towards Monster, maybe a Molotov drawn out as well. But after all said and done, NKT, someone digs down, going to start working towards this A side of the map.
Well, that seems to be the tried and true, doesn't it, for NKT? I wonder how long it takes ViCi to figure that out. You know, this is now what will be the 4th round in a row where NKT have literally not put a single player into the connector across to the B-bomb site. They've really not set foot in that area of the map at all so far. So at what point is ViCi just saying, well, we're just going to put our players up on A, I guess?
We'll see. Kaze looking to see if he can pick off any of these players before the execute gets kicked off. NKT, out come the smokes, a few Molotovs being replied in. A lot of damage actually, and Kaze's going to find the first there.
He's in the fire though, he's burning alive, and Impression is going to make 2 entries count quite nicely for NKT. In the meanwhile, Advent has managed to get behind, and Zoking is also there. So NKT are going to have to aggress somewhere, and in doing so, they run into Jamyoung. It's on to Urkas in a 1-on-3. He's already found the first. He'll get the second as well, but he's not quite going to push it onto the defusing Advent, which means that ViCi will win their first gun round. Pros never fake, Pilski, and that is a mantra that has been drilled into Advent, I'd imagine, because he did not get off that defuse for a second, and he wins the round for ViCi Gaming. That said, you know, it is only with the one gun alive. It was the AWP that was retained through for ViCi, so there is that benefit, but it's a very costly round if that's going to be your first gun round.
Yeah, good to see them get across the line though. And after all said and done, Utility's still looking pretty good. Only that one kit, but they have to go down to 2 of those MP9s, which is unfortunate, especially because we're in the A1S meta now, where you can usually go for an A1S a lot of the time. Doesn't cost you as much as the A4s and whatnot. Nice opening pick from Kaze. Should put a little bit more pressure on NKT now.
Zoking's going to try and get aggressive, and he's going to make it work as well. Urquhart's just bouncing up and down in the playground. Gets his head taken off by that MP9. 4 versus 3 now for NKT, and this is where it starts to get a bit more difficult against a team that is of the caliber of ViCi Gaming. It has looked pretty good so far for NKT, right? They won the pistol, they were pretty decent in the anti-ecos. Even that first gun round, you could make the argument that NKT probably did enough and just didn't quite execute in the post plant. You know, losing 2 players to Advent and Zoking without reply was a little bit disappointing after getting the bomb plant down and having the numbers advantage, but now that they don't have that numbers advantage, we get to really see what NKT can actually offer us on this map of Overpass. If this is going to be their choice, if this is what you're going to choose against ViCi, you have to believe that, you know, they're going to have something that, you know, if plan A doesn't work, then plan B is certainly something that they can lean on to. Otherwise, it's going to be a very quick night tonight, because we know how good ViCi Gaming can be. Flash is getting tossed over to Excurate. He's going to be the one to send score and impression into the bomb site. And it's a good catch onto Kaze. The Flash at least. They've also spotted him out. So 9 seconds left on the clock, and Impression's going to duck his head down inside of that smoke to plant the bomb. And NKT will at least be successful in getting themselves a post plant.
Yeah, setting up for the retake. They do have the man advantage. Only this single smoke, but the kit is on Advent, the player with the smoke. So NKT. Just trying to hold on to this post plant from Long and Bathrooms.
Oh, not so bad so far for NKT. A 2-for-1 trade. Impression needs to pop his head back up. It is Orman, and he's got an M4 in hand, and he's going to catch Impression off guard, but does he have the time for the defuse? I don't think so, Pilski. Orman thought he did, and that is a mistake that is going to cost him the M4. Not that I'm sure he would be able to get out of there anyway. NKT will win another very, very close round, 4-1.
It's good to see. I'm going to reinvest here. Now heading into an anti-eco. You are going to see a tactical timeout for ViCi. They're going to have a chat about how they want to proceed through the rest of this half. Their money is a bit all over the shop. The main thing they're probably considering is NKT's cash is quite low, so tempted to go for an investment. Just a question of how much you're going to be committing into it.
It's like a timeout coming through for ViCi Gaming. Probably not the position that they had expected to be in, starting out here on Overpass. You know, we used to see Overpass kind of cropping up a little bit in those matches between Tyloo and ViCi, and there was a period where we were really not too sure why ViCi was picking this map, particularly against the likes of Tyloo, because it just didn't seem like they had a great understanding of it or that they were particularly comfortable on it. But it did start to come good towards the end of 2020, I remember. So I'm hoping that it's kind of still there for ViCi. NKT would probably be hoping for the opposite. And this is actually the first round now where we've sort of seen NKT kind of showing at least a tendency to head towards the B bomb site as opposed to go towards A. They are stuck behind a smoke at the moment though. But once that fades, we get to see what NKT has got for us on the B side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, pretty big investment here for ViCi Gaming. Really trying to break the money of the other team. They are starting to walk back towards that B side of the map. It is just Jam Young there, shoulder spotting, has a smoke to drop, but no real support outside of that.
Little tag onto Jam Young. Nothing too substantial. He'll get the important information for ViCi though, that NKT are actually on this side of the map. not looking like the strongest of defenses for ViCi. I wonder if NKT at this point are just trying to burn through some of that very, very weak utility that ViCi Gaming came into this round with. They've got it down to just one smoke now and one flash. One of those smokes is going to go onto the monster tunnel, and NKT might inevitably have to push through it. Advent is still holding on to one as well, but Urcast opens things up. It'll end up being a 1-for-1 because he tries to push on through. Zoking is doing a good job of holding on. He's got multiple angles to be aware of, but NKT just pause, and Zoking is being given 1v1 after 1v1 after 1v1 after 1v1, Pilski. And that's 4 kills for Zoking. He makes it look easy, and in the end, ViCi come away with the round and make it look pretty clean in the end. So, I don't know. I mean, that to me, I felt like it was a good setup from NKT, but they just didn't explode onto the bomb site the way I thought they would.
Yeah, it's a surprise, actually, to see ViCi come away with that one. They get a couple of upgrades as well, which is always awesome to see. A few AKs in there, so that big risk that they took in terms of investing in towards the buy, even without the most optimal buy or optimal utility, has gone exceptionally well for them. NKT going to go for a similar sort of buy here. Definitely not as convincing as what ViCi were able to put together in the previous, but pistols and armor, pretty limited util, only 2 smokes, single flash to try to get through the majority of this map. And they're going to start moving towards A. It's interesting to watch NKT play this T side. Very much this pack mentality, just working together. You know, a lot of teams do rely on individual players to sort of clear parts of the map or take agency by themselves, but NKT really just 5-manning it quite often. It's interesting to watch.
I mean, I wonder if that's going to be something that we'll see a little bit more of on other maps as well. Do you have the hero AK out in this round for NKT, and it's interesting that that's been thrown over to Urcast, who, you know, as far as I still understand, is the in-game leader. Not going to be able to get the shots onto Zoking, just gets absolutely deleted. So the AK will fall back into the hands of Impression. I mean, for his own right, I think Impression's been doing a little bit of the entry work for NKT, so it might not be the worst thing in the world for him to have that AK. He's going to have to hit some banger shots here, isn't he, Pilski? 17 seconds left as NKT try to make their way into the site with no utility at all. Zoking's on one angle, he's got his teammate on the other. Kaze's there to help out, Orman as well, and they will be successful in getting the bomb plant down. Impression also finding a couple of really nice kills, but he's run out of bullets, tries to hide inside of the smoke. Will not be successful, and ViCi Gaming will come away with their third on the CT side. It's been a very backwards and forwards half at the moment, hasn't it? It's just, I don't really feel like either of these two teams has gotten into a position where we can say they're looking like a stronger team on Overpass right now.
Yeah, that gives me a lot of hope that this is going to be a bit of a banger series, to be honest. As for NKT, though, they dropped that round with C4 going down, so yeah, I don't think they're going to be investing in here unless they wanted to go for some kind of weird buy where you're dropping AKs over. But at that point, you know, not even going to really break ViCi's money that hard anyway. So it is just the investment in the pistols, looking to chip some damage away.
So far, doesn't look like they're going to be too successful. A bit spread out across the map, a little bit of a different approach from NKT than what we've seen already. Score does get a nice headshot onto Jamyoung. So that's sort of the individual prowess that we're talking about that is capable of coming from the NKT roster. I think every single one of these players on their day is an absolute firepower machine, but Score more than encapsulates that. If he continues to hit headshots with the Deagle, you know, it's going to be a tough day at the office for ViCi.
I mean, it's looking like a tough day at the office for Kaze right now, but hold on. This always helps, having that connector control, having all of short B. ViCi can rotate accordingly. You've got Orman up here with a double flash to be able to support his teammate. ViCi going to start to fall back on some more passive angles. They're going to let NKT have the site, but that's where Zoking can activate.
Yeah, this is all part of the plan for ViCi Gaming. Zoking lining them up from behind and making it look easy. What a day so far for Zoking, by the way. 14 and 5. He is making the difference for ViCi in a lot of these rounds. Score will try to wrap around behind, and once again, it is Zoking to answer. And Zion eventually falls to Orman as well. So ViCi, slowly but surely, are working their way back into this half. They've equalized the scoreline now, and their money is starting to build up as a result. I got to say, when you've got Zoking going 15-5 on the CT side, that makes me a little bit worried about NKT's chances when they move over onto CT as well, because we know Zoking's just going to go bananas when he moves on to T.
Oh, we've seen so many big halves from Zoking on the CT side, though. Like, it's going to be interesting, actually, because he was one of the players where, you know, there's some players in these minor regions where they have really sick A4s, and I think Zoking was definitely one of them. Look at this aggression straight up through Fountain. NKT being forced to respond to Zoking right now, but he's hitting nothing but heads.
Yeah. Well, eventually he does get taken down by Zion, so that might be a sigh of relief for NKT. It feels like the raid boss is out of the picture now, and then you look across the rest of the scoreboard. I mean, Kaze, Advent, Orman, Jamyoung, they haven't been doing awfully, but it's not 16-6, so at least it feels possible now for NKT. And always, you know, you would always say like a one pick on the T side is a little bit more favorable than one pick on the CT side as well. So I think in all facets, NKT are probably happy with that trade.
Yeah, I think that's not always true, though. And this might be one of those cases where NKT, they've lost that pick very, very far back and they're lacking the map control. So to be able to leverage this 4-on-4 advantage, they're going to have to actually go back and take that map control and make something happen with it. Initial utility over towards bathrooms, trying to make it look like they are working towards that A side of the map. But after that initial util, which actually has pulled a rotate off, Orman's headed back up towards A. NKT going to group towards B. There's a totem pole boost towards Sandbags, which if you've got T's coming out, Monster could be a bit of a nightmare.
Impression just going to line up a couple of pieces of utility. Hopefully one's going to be a smoke down on the site. Oh, maybe it doesn't even matter if Score is just going to hit headshots. That'll give the opportunity for Zion to get the bomb plant down. Sounds like that Molotov was extinguished by the smoke, so it's not even going to cost him any HP. And Overpass also catches Advent. NKT are still fighting hard on the T side of Overpass. This is a great contest, actually. I'm really enjoying this match, Pilski. I feel like we've you know, been missing out a little bit by not getting to watch these two teams play against each other more often, because NKT throughout all of 2020 could just not qualify for top 4 tournaments.
Dude, they just kept losing like quarterfinals or grand finals of the qualifier, and it was a bit frustrating. But even like now seeing them in a top 4 tournament, you can see that's the thing about NKT, and the thing about, like, you know, online play in Asia as well, is that even now, just the other week, I was looking at one of their ESCA results where they've lost to Sigma. I mean, those are the kind of teams that will take you out in some of those open qualifiers, no matter who you are. But you can see from NKT, and I dare say this probably would have been true back when we were missing out on them as well. Sure, you can lose to a Sigma, but that doesn't mean you can't take on a ViCi Gaming.
Yeah. Yeah, rock, paper, scissors kind of a situation, maybe. Sigma just rolls out with some crazy stuff, and NKT not prepared for it. They're like, oh no.
Hits you with the Thailand special, dude.
Yep. Well, I mean, NKT right now are definitely competing with ViCi Gaming, which is not something we can say for a lot of teams in the Asia region. But, of course, we know that Overpass is not ViCi Gaming's favorite match to head on to, at least at the moment. So maybe there's a little bit of that going around as well. I'll be interested to see how this changes when we do move on to Nuke, regardless of the result of map 1. And to be fair, I mean, still 5-4, like, it's not like ViCi's out of this discussion just yet.
Well, I mean, it almost, at this point, with how much NKT's been leaning towards long, this almost kind of feels like a counter strat a little bit. Like, they know that ViCi doesn't really play long setups very much, and they're trying to abuse that a little bit. The timing straight up this long wall might be deadly for Kaze.
Yeah, he hasn't spotted any of that information. Now some util starting to get fired across, but he might have gotten himself out a little bit too late. Eventually does duck back into bank, and he'll survive as a result. But of course, it is the A bomb site that's cracked open by NKT, and this time they are keeping a bit of a heads up on what's happening through the connector. They really know that that is an area of the map that's been problematic for them, and it continues to be. As Urkas drops to Advent, Sign's going to go on a bit of an expedition, spots out Advent, Jam Young trades, but can't get Excured as well. It's a double kill for the Indonesian superstar. And Orman and Kaze will now have to try to clutch out a 2-on-2. Impression is up the creek without a panel, and Excured is covered off by Kaze. So in the end, actually, the 2v2 goes quite comprehensively to ViCi Gaming. And again, they'll equalize.
Just back and forth, never really stops. Bomb plant, though, as well as that strong money, means that NKT probably going to put a pretty solid buy together here. Only Zion is a little bit further behind everybody else in terms of cash. Might have to go down to a Khalil, but considering the fact that only 2 players survived there for ViCi Gaming, money is still very fragile. Games being back and forth, so the loss bonus isn't too crazy for either side, really. And that's where we're getting right into the middle of the half, straight into round number 11, into a gun round here, and you could see either one of these teams taking this round could be huge for them to take a little bit more of the majority heading into the half.
So they want to pick the pace up a little bit here. NKT flashes through. They're good for Impression to find the entries. Can't quite spin around to get the player on short, and ViCi Gaming have mind-gamed NKT a little bit by having Orman there. They were not expecting the 2 players to come from short, and that's kind of what's brought NKT unstuck a little bit in the entry. It was a 3-for-2 trade favoring ViCi, and now they have, of course, got that 3-on-2. But NKT have taken some nice map control. Urkas has worked his way up into the sniper's window. All it takes is one from Excured, but he's not quite going to be able to get that, and Orman gets it done for ViCi Gaming. Now it's not just the Zoking show. Now Orman is starting to light up the scoreboard as well. And that is a dangerous time to be a T-sided player.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Bomb Plant, the money's still a little bit weird. Not sure if they're going to try to put a buy together here. You got a couple on 3.7. You're going to be pretty light on the util if you try to for NKT. Alternatively, you can go for one of these half buys, but, you know, Deagle Armor half buys and split and pick approach maybe not as viable in this meta. Just want to note as well that you saw NKT really try to mix things up. They were going for a lot of long pressure. Here's the half buy, by the way, but they're going for a lot of long pressure earlier on, and then they tried to mix things up by going straight out Monster. And honestly, it felt like ViCi Gaming was more so leaning towards the A side of the map with their CT setup in the last round. So was a good adjustment from NKT, but doesn't end up netting them around, unfortunately. Other thing I wanted to note as well is that Orman is one of those players who, even when A4 was considered superior, was using the A1S, so he must love this update.
This is going to be the Orman buff patch, isn't it?
I think so, dude.
He's going to Photoshop his head on top of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's the kind of image that it evokes a little bit. Let's see what Orman can do. You know, he has been... I think he's been one of those players that has been a little inconsistent at times, but I was a little bit more happy with what we got towards the later stages of 2020 than what we had towards the early stages of 2020. And it was kind of funny for me to kind of keep going back to the 2020 results and statistics and whatever, but I feel like that's almost some of the most recent games that we've kind of been able to watch from ViCi Gaming. They just really haven't played a whole lot this year, so it's kind of all that we have to go off. But either way, as you say, A1S should be good for Orman, and it seems to be so far. Kaze's watching the bathrooms once again with the AWP. He's always in this position on Overpass, and he started off well in this round. It is just the pistols for NKT, but they can still get a bit of work done. Zion able to overwhelm Zoking, and Kaze not quite able to land that shot. Does give a bit of inroads for NKT into the site itself. Have to deal with Orman though, and Urkas didn't quite check the angle. Still, he's bailed out of trouble by score, but it's not going to be enough to win NKT the round. ViCi do drop a couple more guns than they might have liked there, but overall, they get through the round, and now they start to increase the gap a little bit. It's 7-5. It was feeling a bit tit for tat for me, Pilski. It was feeling quite even for a while, but now it seems like ViCi's starting to pull ahead a little bit, and that concerns me for the health of this series.
Yeah, but as you see with the lovely economy graph that we've been enjoying throughout all of IEM Fall in Oceania and some of the other regions as well, that was a good round in terms of economic damage from NKT. With that half bike, definitely got themselves a couple of kills. Score really wants that short B control. He is not interested in waiting around for it either. Loses about 50 of his HP. Jam Young being closer to that Molotov with the right graphic settings, you can have a big vision advantage over a player that is pretty far away, and he's used that quite effectively to find that opening pick. He's actually still on the A4, by the way.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you know, it could be potentially a positional thing, or it could be just a comfort thing. Suppose you never really know. Maybe he just likes it better.
No. Into the 4-on-5 now. Not a whole lot of utility left in the belts of ViCi Gaming. Couple of smokes, full belt for Kaze, but he's over towards that divider area, so not going to be able to find any of that utility useful until the retake starts to come in as NKT getting ready to hit this B site.
This is less of a hit and more of a creep score. Eventually starts to let ViCi know what's going on. Jam Young does well to get the trade. He's also got Advent there to cover him off. So the side is not secured yet for NKT, but Xcurate will at least feel like he's got enough space to tap the bomb, try and draw a bit more information out from ViCi. Another 1-for-1 trade, but Kaze starts to come into the question, and Zoking from behind once again. How does he continue to find these flanks? I have no idea, but ViCi Gaming are up to 8, and NKT, the drought starts to look a little bit worse.
Yeah, no doubt. They're still bringing them down to 2 players surviving, so the money is still fragile for the CT side. And as you can see, they've reduced their loss bonus down to nothing, whereas NKT bomb plants as well as pretty strong loss bonus means that they have options to buy, but again, they're going to go for another one of these half buys, and you only see 1 Deagle and Tech9s across the board. It's what I'm expecting to see a little bit more, you know. I kind of referred to it before as, you know, Deagle armor split pick meta on the half pies back before, but now definitely expecting some more of these pre-planned strats with the techies and armor, CCs, P250s on these half buys, and it seems like NKT looking towards this B site. What a read from Orman. Almost fine score.
How has Score gotten away with his life there?
I don't know, mate.
Oh, he's nearly killed Zine as well.
Yeah, that is like one of my favorite roles, is that short B rotator.
Well, Kaze not able to hit the shot, but luckily he's got Advent standing right behind him. He's spraying everyone down with the M4. Just the 1 kill in this round for NKT, and yeah, I mean, a lot of these rounds, ViCi have been down to some low player numbers. They've taken only 1 or 2 guns through, but end of the day, you get to the end of the half here, it's the final round. They've got a full buy, so they've managed their money pretty well by virtue of winning pretty much every single round.
Oh yeah,
And
pretty easy to buy when you just don't lose. So
just don't lose. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Now that you say it, I've never really thought about it like that.
Yeah.
But,
Why is it so hard to qualify for tournaments? Just don't lose, dude.
Look, it was a great start for NKT. They were sort of going toe-to-toe with ViCi Gaming, but now it feels like they've just fallen off the pedestal a little bit, and ViCi has kind of run away with the half.
Yeah, you never know. Oh, again, great spam through. I mean, Orman just doing a fantastic job as this short B rotator. It's one of the most satisfying roles to know a lot of nerdy stuff in. I remember going and watching like the Zipnix demos back in the day with just the HE nade lineups and the spams you can do and the supportive utility for your teammates. So many options in that role, and Orman doing a fantastic job of it. Here's the monster smoke out for the man, just to be able to help the boys out a little bit more. But NKT have gotten this short B control, and I was about to say they haven't lost a pick yet, but that's where Orman comes in again with the beautiful spam straight through the wall. Other 2 players have taken a lot of damage as well, so NKT having a really rough time of things before they can really make it in towards their late round play.
Clock's ticking as well for them, isn't it? 50 seconds left in the half. Urcast! Well, that's a little bit of a taste of your own medicine, I suppose, Orman. He got a little bit overeager, didn't he? He was getting a little bit predictable, and Urcast shuts it down. So well done by NKT to punish that. However, if they do make their way towards the A bomb site, there isn't an undefended site here by any means. And once again, Zoking's gone on a little bit of a scenic tour around the bathrooms. And he's actually going to come up behind Urcast and get another kill. So this must be an incredibly frustrating game for NKT to be playing. Zoking just appears behind them every single round, it seems like. That said, they are into the bomb site itself. Advent tries to go through the smoke to deny a bomb plant. Now, Zoking's caught out in no man's land, but the bomb, well, I was going to say, won't get planted. Luckily, NKT got all the kills they need as we head into halftime. 9-6 the scoreline, favoring ViCi Gaming. Not sure who it ends up really benefiting more, but I suppose ViCi will be happy with what they've got there on the CT side.
Need no light, no spark, I'm in line mode. With my eyes closed, I can see in the dark, I'm a quiet storm. Far from calm, I know you feel me, brother.
Lost that one.
Well, we're jumping back into the second half here, and it is ViCi Gaming that have got the lead. 9-6, the scoreline out of that first half. ViCi, what's your take here? Is 9-6 on the CT side about the pass score for Overpass? Were you expecting more from ViCi or more from NKT?
I mean, I don't even bloody know anymore, mate. With this new update, we've seen some crazy one-sided halves, and some of those have come on Overpass, in particular on that CT side. Some 11-4s, 12-3s. So I'll reserve my opinion for a later date. Excurate, very cheeky, up behind the tree there. Does find Kaze, who is solo running straight up long. Some party shirts on the ViCi Gaming team models here. Yeah, they're looking to have a great time in this half, aren't they?
Oh, well, I wonder if they are going to or not. It might be dependent on how this pistol does go. There's a smoke in for the sniper's window. That is going to push her cast and score away from that position and kind of allow ViCi to just walk into B. Kaze drew enough of a rotate, and Zoking does not want to slow down what he was doing on the CT side. That's what I was talking about, Pilski. I was saying, if Zoking's going to be doing that on CT, you can only imagine what he's going to get up to on the T side. He continues to charge forward. That's his third kill for the round, and Zine is left on 2 HP. ViCi Gaming, they take the pistol 4v5.
Yeah, I mean, that's the epitome of confidence, isn't it? Where you plant and you go, could wait for the retake to come in, or I could just push into your spawn and kill you so that, you know, we could just get this over with faster.
Well, Zion at least is going to get to save his armor. Unless he gets caught by ViCi Gaming, who are actually quite close by. Like, why are they
Jordan,
even here?
There's $300 to be made, mate.
Yeah,
What do you mean? So. I'm not leaving that money on the table.
Unfortunately, ViCi don't quite catch up with him. But 10-6 scoreline, and obviously ViCi getting the pistol does mean that they're in a very nice spot now on the T side. NKT will force their way back in with the Deagles, CZ there as well, and of course the Scout for Excurate, but definitely looking a bit healthier for ViCi.
Yeah, I mean, another aspect of this Deagle nerf is it does actually affect CT side second round buys, because a big thing was you would buy Deagle and then you could hold a lot of angles where you could just spam at the body and hold things down pretty nicely. Not really going to be a reality anymore. And obviously, losing that scouting player pretty early on will also affect those Deagles. You want to get those tags up. You want to be able to take shots, fall back to safer angles if you're Excurate. And at that point, you can wound some of those Ts to make it easier for the pistols to finish them off. Fortunately, not going to be a reality that NKT has available to them anymore. ViCi Gaming, very similarly to what NKT were doing on their CT side, are working that A to long A control and going for an A side execute in the anti-force.
Zoking, absolutely fearless, just charges his way into the A-bomb side. He's 22-9 for the map so far. Wants the 30, I dare say. And ViCi Gaming are going to get their way into A. Doesn't look like NKT are particularly interested in trying anything funny here. They'll just try and save the guns through to the next round. They do have to take another save, so it's obviously fair enough. Give yourself a pretty decent chance into the next as well. If you can take all of these deagles and armor.
Yeah,
You've been
if
missing
you
the
catch
scout,
player
but
hunting as well, then that's going to be a pistol that you can drop over to execute.
yeah, that would
Would
be
be
the
nice to
ideal
try
one.
and go find that scout, but don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, no chance. No chance. That area is swarming with ViCi players. And 11 is now the scoreline for the T's. So we talked about the drought for NKT. I mean, they got up to what, like 5-5 or even 6-6? But ever since then, it's been pretty much ViCi the whole time.
Yeah, I'm getting worried for NKT, if I'm honest. ViCi Gaming, lots of room to work with on this T side. You know, I'm trying to think back to, games where ViCi Gaming threw away a lead like this, and all of those memories are against Tai Lu, and this is not Tai Lu, so I'm pretty sure ViCi closes these kind of games out. We'll see, though. Still room for NKT. Definitely won't count them out. Like you said, they've kept over a lot of this pistol armor, and they're rolling out. Whole squad's heading into short beat.
Maybe they can find Orman. If they continue. Which, if you've got 4 players right there, I almost expect that they're at some point going to have to start to move. You know, it's going to be nice, obviously, if ViCi walks into short water there and you're able to pick them off, but inevitably you have to sort of cut your losses as NKT and say, well, we tried the stack, it didn't work out, what are we going to do now? ViCi didn't fall into our trap.
You got that player close towards short beat, so Urcast might be able to hear some of these footsteps and inform the rotates, and I'm looking at the CTs starting to head back into spawn, and I'm assuming that this will be the B stack coming out. Urcast sees the cross, and he's able to pick off Orman before this site hit does come in.
Oh, that's a good shot from Overpass with the deagle. Does catch Soaking. Numbers are looking a bit limited for ViCi Gaming. Jam Young, as ever though, is going to be the rock that gets ViCi Gaming back into a difficult looking round. And as soon as it looks exciting for NKT, it is just quickly pulled away from them by ViCi. Expert stuff.
Wow.
They don't even lose another player after the fact. So 12-6, doubling the scoreline of NKT now, and obviously getting themselves off to a very good half, or start in the half here, I should say. We will obviously sort of reserve judgment until we see the first gun round from NKT, though. I think that's fair at least.
I would say a tournament where player models have been a thing for a while. It's just interesting to watch, isn't it?
It's like, in this one, it's kind of like they've got like some sort of VIP that they need to protect, because I didn't see who it was, but there was one guy with
Jam
a different
Young.
skin.
They're all protecting Jam Young.
Protecting Jam Young. He's carrying like a bag of money, and the other guys are like undercover party goers or something.
Is this Payday? Are we watching Payday right now?
It literally feels like it.
Oh, well. Well, first gun round is probably worth talking about rather than just memes, but,
Depends what kind of
see.
person you are.
Yeah, I suppose. Progression smoke, out a monster there for ViCi Gaming. Trying to draw out some utility from the CTs before they actually commit to this B-side execute. There are plenty of NKT players over here, though. So, still plenty of utility as well. Could definitely hold down this this push.
To work his way into the bomb site, not able to hit the entrance this time. An Impression had a chance for 2. He's not going to get it, but he will be traded back down by score. So overall, not too shabby from NKT on that B defense. But they are still going to have some more that they need to deal with, and that is in the name of Jam Young making his way out of connector, catching Xcurate off guard, and now it throws a fox among the henhouse for NKT. They need to scramble back up to A. That is where ViCi Gaming is headed. And that is where ViCi Gaming have actually managed to get a bomb plan as well.
Yeah, they should be able to get off the site here. No utility to stop that cross being guarded from jump up, but ViCi Gaming actually digging their heels into the site, and they're having a tough time getting out of there. Zion's going to find the first pick, and Kaze is essentially going to have to hit every shot around this default box. A very difficult prospect. does get isolated by Urcast, who gets a nice couple of kills in on that retake. He's going to pick up the AWP as well, so clutched up nicely by NKT. They were put in a very difficult situation. I was looking at Xcurate. It's always kind of crazy to see an AWP player trying to rotate through the middle of the map. I think we saw something like that from Urcast in DreamHack Oceania. And to be honest, I was looking at the fact that it was Xcurate, and I was like, are we going to get a couple of like quick scopes, shotgun AWPing? That would be just textbook Xcurate.
Look, I don't know who
when
you
he
were
got,
talking about, but I'm definitely sure it wasn't Urcast playing in DreamHack Oceania.
Really? I said Urcast? Alistair.
Yeah, you said Urcast. I was like,
Not
what?
even know.
Who the hell are you talking about?
I thought Oceania, and then my mind immediately went to Urcast.
It's a bit of a throwback.
But, unfortunately, not to be anymore.
Yeah, not the case, but obviously having some success here on NKT, and nice to see some success for them to get that first round for themselves on the CT side, right? It's always nice to start off with the first gun round. It is not going to make for an easy half, though, for NKT. Money is still going to be a factor. ViCi Gaming have been able to buy back straight into this round, and they're going to come into the B bomb site with revenge in mind, and that might be what they're about to get. Advent hits himself a nice opener. Kaze gets another, and the only frag to come through from NKT so far is from Urcast. It'll be him and Xcurate to try to salvage it. Urcast is looking sharp in this round, though, as he gets another one onto Jam Young. What has Urcast had for breakfast before this round? I don't know. And where was it in all of the previous rounds? Because that was something pretty special. Now, though, leaves it to Urcast in the 1-on-2. Might be able to get a freebie here on the Kaze. He couldn't get off the bomb. And unfortunately, Urcast not able to hit the flick onto Advent will mean that ViCi get the round and they break the CT economy.
Jordan, you just said Urcast when Xcurate was clutching. We just can't stop saying Urcast instead of other players. All we want to say is Urcast.
Yeah, there you go. We just got Urcast on the brain. Love that guy a bit too much.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Oh boy, coming down to an XVX 1v1. Oh, almost saw again Xcurate. That's the kind of player that probably hits that quick scope, but not this time, unfortunately. And ViCi Gaming securing themselves 13, but also resetting that CT side money. So if they complete this anti-eco, that'll be 14s up for them. And a 7-round lead, you'd definitely be backing them to close out their opponent's pick at that point. It would take a lot of grinding and tenacity from NKT, especially on that CT side. CT side comebacks are always super hard.
I think I was probably backing them before the series even started, Pilsy, but now that the scoreline is 13-7 and they're facing against an eco, yeah, I'm double backing ViCi here. As unfortunate as it is to say, being a fan of NKT, that is a nice shot though from Xcurate, but not going to be able to get too much more done with just a USP. And it is ViCi into the B site pretty comfortably. Zion will come up on the rotate. He's got a CZ. So does Urcast. There are, maybe some shenanigans afoot if those are able to get into the mix. But I dare say ViCi is a bit too good of a squad to let that be an opportunity or a possibility for NKT.
CT's sitting back. They want ViCi to push them. They were looking at Zoking earlier on that pistol round. They're like, surely Zoking's zooming into bank here and going to start to try to make a run for things. But ViCi Gaming being their more disciplined selves this time, outside of Zoking, the aforementioned man, just peeking out long, looking for some anti-eco frags. Actually, a lot of guns starting to be dropped here by ViCi Gaming. This is getting a little bit messy. All of those players going down. That's going to take a bit of a toll on the T-side money. You're looking at Ormond 3.5.
It's not even just
for
that.
Zoking.
It's the fact that it gives 3 guns over to the CTs
Exactly.
as well. It rescues
for sure.
NKT's economy.
Yeah. No, 100%. Always helps to have those rifles over. Bit of a pretty massive economy swing, all things considered. If you're talking about being down 7 rounds, these are the edges that you need. Definitely will help out later on. Time out here for ViCi Gaming. Going to have a chat about what to do there. Should be a buy through, but definitely worth chatting about, especially, before the update, you were definitely limited as to what options you wanted to go for when it came to some of these weird buy rounds where you've got a player who's sitting a little bit lower or 2 players that are sitting a little bit lower than everyone else. But now with the grenade dropping being introduced and the fact that teams have not had as long to adapt to that and play around it perfectly, I really do back just taking some extra tactical timeouts, having a chat about how you want to disperse your utility correctly, and who wants to have grenades and who shouldn't.
Zoking's got a
And,
Mac 10 though, Pilsky. What about that?
Yeah, of course. That's a standard. It's been a while since I've seen that. The man just rolling straight into a site, holding W.
Very keen to see what he has on offer for us. At the moment, it seems like it's going to be the connector play from ViCi, with Kaze just jump spotting in playground. He's making a lot of noise, and Zion is definitely hearing all of that. So Zion will have to be a little bit careful here, because I wasn't expecting it from Kaze. I was actually expecting it from Orman coming through from T-Spawn, but in the end, a couple of picks go through for ViCi Gaming, and they'll pick the pace up in toward the A bomb site. NKT, it sort of felt like there was a ray of sunshine, a little bit of hope for them after that last round, keeping those guns, but this will be 15 for ViCi, no questions asked, and NKT just on the save. They have to let map point fall by the wayside.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult pill to swallow. If they keep all these guns up, though, we were talking about the economic swing of picking up a couple of guns in the last. If they can make sure that they hold on to all three of these, you could see 2 drops over, or at least investment. And, at least they'll have a good buy heading into the next. King scouting out one of these players towards ABC. Impression goes down, score goes down. Urcast is in the back of their connector, luckily, without any T's close to him. So he is the only one who will save. And that is bad news for NKT as ViCi Gaming move on to map point.
He's got the tool tray there in front of him. Hopefully he's going to be able to rustle something up for the lads, because the rest of them are looking relatively poor. Urcast, he could drop a gun here. It's going to sacrifice a bit of the util that he'll be able to take through, but I suppose given the circumstances, that's probably okay. Does at least manage to get himself another incendiary, which means, another M4 dropped over to one of the NKT members, and they sort of come out of it okay in terms of the buy this round, and I guess that's fair enough, because, look, I mean, what does it matter how much money you've got left at this point in time if you're NKT? You just need to win rounds. You just have to win this round. And that's I think the first piece of the puzzle. We can start to talk about the economy in a couple of rounds' time, but for now, let's just get some rounds on the board.
Yeah,
they've had one this half.
Yeah, it's a rough time of things. ViCi Gaming, unafraid to work the map. Usually you'll see the initial bathroom smoke and molly towards Divider. They just walk all the way straight up grass, and now there's pressure on Zion towards the A site.
King is playing patiently for the moment. His output has slowed down a little bit from the CT side. He hasn't had as much work to do on the T side. The rest of the lads have picked things up on the ViCi side. It's a nice spot to be in for Xcurate, assuming he hits the shot. If not, he's going to be in a bit of a spot of bother if he has to fall back through that smoke. A couple of players watching for it, but they are not going to be able to do too much about it. Xcurate hits the headshot onto Zoking, and this might still be a round for NKT. Off the back of Xcurate's AWP, Zion, score, Impression, all chiming in with the rifle. And NKT is not done yet on Overpass.
Xcurate kind of rolling back the years a little bit. Some of these, superstar players from the past, a little bit quiet in this first map, to be honest. So seeing a couple of frags like that come in for Xcurate gives me a little bit to get hyped up about. But they're going to need to deliver on a more consistent basis, on a very consistent basis. Good news for Team NKT, though, is that ViCi have scraped the bottom of the bank accounts, so this could be a reset round and allow them to more easily get towards double digits. Nice damage onto Jam Young with that HG nade to start things off. And ViCi Gaming, again, seems like they're putting a premium on controlling this A side of the map. Double AWP actually coming in. NKT, that is why they have a dangerous double AWP score. A primary AWPer, or at least very, very good with the secondary over there on D13.
Yeah, I think
he's once again, secondary AWP behind Annihilation. But
yep.
I feel like he definitely had the skills on the AWP, and he's again shown us why that is an incredibly difficult shot to hit.
Oh, well, bit of a head scratcher now for ViCi Gaming. They thought that they had this one scot-free. They thought that the map was pretty much over, and to be honest, so did I. But NKT are showing some fight still is left in them. For map number 1. Which is perhaps quite important, given the fact that Nuke is coming up next, and it's hard-pressed to find a team that's going to beat ViCi in the Asian region on Nuke. This is a much better looking round from NKT. They've got a lot of guns alive. If they can keep that, then that means that their money's going to look very good, and obviously you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together that they might be able to come back into this map. Score Another really nice shot with the AWP. Kaze's starting to look to make it a bit more expensive. He's only got 20 seconds here, and eventually will fall. So 2 AWPs retained, an AK there as well. That is, you know, probably the pass score, or maybe even just a little bit better for NKT, in my opinion, out of that round. So up to 9. It's not over yet.
It's just great. Secondary AWPing out of score. That's one of the things that made D13 a really solid team as well, is having that Annihilation score combo on the double AWPs, and definitely not a bad thing to be bringing into NKT. Bloody hell, Excurate and score together. That is some crazy double AWP potential. ViCi Gaming going back to the drawing board, taking a save, looking to chip some damage away from NKT. Obviously not more concerned with the reset potential, but concerned rather with, as the loss bonus gets reduced for NKT, and as they chip through their economy, just making their next couple of buys more difficult. If you can take away that double AWP, that will definitely help out, because at the moment, both of them seem to be connecting.
Excurate. Able to get himself another one. I'd like to really see him go off with the AWP in this series. That would make it very exciting. Particularly if you're an NKT fan. Orman might not be. He's got other ideas. But the round will still fall by the wayside for NKT, or rather for ViCi, I should say. And so we're up to double digits for NKT. They make it look, again, a little bit more respectable. Huh. I wonder. I mean, 5 rounds in a row, Pilski. What's your take? At what point? I'm not going to do the max special, you know. But at what point do you start to believe?
I believe they can bring it back. I just think this might be one of those maps where the scoreline looks a little bit better than it was. I feel like ViCi Gaming have had it in the bag. They just need to find that right call to put it across the line. This round, by definitely not looking as convincing as ViCi Gaming might have liked, having to go down to a Galil on Jam Young. Utility's already looking a little bit sparse at a minute 30 and 5, a minute 40. That was very nearly a spam straight through the smoke from Orman. A lot of damage onto Impression. Does pressure that B side of the map. In the meanwhile, Excurate focusing on long A. No bathrooms pressure or control here. Flash over the top of Divider for ViCi Gaming. They're going to go and take that part of the map, and Zion in turn is going to burn that smoke onto Divider, but he's under a lot of pressure now.
Yeah, Zoking is a man on a mission, isn't he? He's going to clear out long, but he's not going to be able to do it well enough. Zine is watching and waiting. You talked about the pressure. Well, he answers it nicely until he gets taken down by Jamyoung, but even then, he's able to do more than his HP's worth of damage. Gets a lot of damage onto Jamyoung before he drops, and puts NKT into a position where they can still find a way to win this round. Though a double AWP retake on the A bomb site feels a little bit difficult, particularly with the position that Kaze is locking down. It now puts a lot of emphasis onto what Advent can do. He needs a double here. He's gotten the first. Can't quite look for the second, though. He's really just dancing around, buying a lot of time. And Kaze wasn't able to get much done either. So defuse will come through for NKT, and they continue to survive on map 1.
Great patience being shown there by NKT. Not only after you find the man advantage coming on that retake, but especially on those truck plants, you can be well aware that the other team is going to have to be a little bit more aggressive on average to try to close out those post plants. If it's a plant on default, that's where things like the bathrooms and the long A post plants are a lot more high percentage. But at least for that one on truck, NKT, it felt like they were quite comfortable just letting the T's come to them, and they're rewarded for their patience. Into another half buy for ViCi Gaming, though, who still have a couple of opportunities, at least 2 more gun rounds to get this one across the line, but can't be taking it for granted.
I have to say, every single one of these rounds is still dangerous for NKT. How many times we've been in a situation like this, or where ViCi's been in a rough spot, and that's exactly what I was about to say, and Jamyoung hits a deagle entry, or something like that happens, and you suddenly start to see the round falling a little bit by the wayside. Impression is under a lot of pressure right now, but he has the backup from his teammates, and so it looks like NKT will get through the round despite a bit of a hiccup. Nice little surf from Advent there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
You do get a little bit worried when you see Jamyoung hit that first Eagle shot and then Zoking hit another one with a Tech 9. You go, uh-oh, this could be NKT done in really unfortunate fashion.
I mean, considering the outfits, I'm not surprised to see Advent hit the surf off the wall there. Pretty sure Mac has that shirt in his closet at home, so...
He does.
Well, at least for an Asian CS game, there's been a distinct lack of getting ecoed, which is good to see. Definitely helps us have a much more entertaining game. At least in the tactical sense, I suppose. ViCi Gaming, different approach though. Progression smoke out Monster. Seems like a bit of a B set play. Smoking off Connector as well. Couple of tells here for NKT that this is going to be a play towards the B site, but can they defend it?
Certainly seems to have his spider sense tingling a little bit. Still has 5 bullets left, and that'll be more than enough to dispatch of Jamyoung. USP comes out, but it's not going to be enough to keep Overpass alive. Impression, for some reason, is using the P250. He must have also run out of bullets on the M4A1S, but overall, a good hold from NKT.
Yeah, I mean, this is the double-edged sword of how ViCi Gaming plays sometimes on this T side. You've seen it a couple of times this half already, which is they do kind of do, I don't know what you would want to call them. I used to call them suicide entries, where you're sending, the spacing is very, very large between the first into the site and the next couple of players. And often it's Zoking, who is the man who's just running in with the supportive utility. And if that player doesn't find success or gets banged out of the server really quickly, the CTs are given a lot of space to get much more comfortable. And that's where you see these kind of one-sided rounds where NKT pretty easily deal with the first couple of players, and then the last couple of ViCi Gaming players are kind of like, well, we're completely locked out now.
Score's going to spot the feet and ahead. And that'll be more than enough to get NKT through the round, even if it wasn't done already. Kaze playing a bit of a dangerous game.
Getting close. 2 more for NKT. They're going to have to get them done in all of these gun rounds, though, especially if we get some plants down here for ViCi Gaming. 3.4, fully maxing out that loss bonus. And NKT now, I mean, slow start for a couple of the players, but if you go have a little bit of a run down the scoreboard, there is no weak link right now on this CT side. Another buy-in for ViCi. Been a distinct lack of AWP on this T side. Money hasn't really allowed for it very regularly.
Bit of map control taken by NKT, but then relinquished quite quickly as they work their way back in toward the A-bomb site.
I mean, I'm looking at Urcast. He just checked short B. NKT, I'd imagine, are going to be feeling quite comfortable towards this B side of the map, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the extra player floated towards A at some point. That smoke goes way too deep for Divider.
I'm liking
so
this
I think
push
they
too.
burnt 2 smokes towards that A side of the map, and they're going to walk up long.
It's going to work as well for them, isn't it? Excure's gotten himself 1 and second. And didn't quite get the third, but of course Zion is there for the trade, and that is the bomb found by NKT. This has to be 14 up for the C2 side. There's no way Advent and Allman are able to win this round.
Oh my
No
god.
way.
That's going to help out. Allman, he walks up with the Galil, finds that peek towards the B side of the map. Advent, he hears a lot of footsteps. Can he read the rotations effectively here? He could find a very nice timing on towards this A side of the map. NKT, though, just grouping up around the C4, playing defense.
Can't
No
happen.
longer concerned about holding the bomb sites.
Can't happen. Don't even worry about it.
You're so bold. You don't believe that 2 Galils can compete at 2-on-3. That's crazy.
Well,
That
I
was
didn't
an interesting
believe,
one.
by the way, that NKT could make it to 14, and yet they have.
Well, that was an interesting round because I think I honestly think they messed up their divider smoke, and then threw their second divider smoke, and they were like, well, we're out of smokes. We got to aggress. And then they were like, they went on a weird timing, and ViCi Gaming was setting up for that A-long boost. And it all kind of works out for you sometimes. This is how we end up at map point for ViCi Gaming, but NKT on the verge of overtime against 5 Galils and Util.
Well, I do wonder how many NKT supporters are watching along with a few nails being bitten right now, because this is way too close for comfort still for them. It's very, very losable from here. ViCi Gaming have found the first entry and the second as well. Surely not after such hard work. NKT, they cannot fall at the final hurdle at the 11th hour. Urcast burns alive to a Molotov, and ViCi Gaming get the bomb down on B. The weight of this entire map rests on the shoulders of Excurate and Zine, and they'll work their way forward for the retake. Zoking in the perfect spot to bring it undone. Zine falls, Excurate soon to follow. 4-on-1, just not possible, and ViCi Gaming get it over the